What the hell is up, everybody? My name is Jamie Logan.
I guess my name's David Rams. Didn't know we were doing that.
We are going up to people asking them if they think Americans are kind.
And also, if they're vegan.
I think Americans are pretty nice, yeah.
So you're happy for some serial killer just to come take you out whenever they want?
I don't give a shit if it doesn't hurt.
A lot of the veganism movement is very white-centric. People of color just kind of don't give a fuck.
And if it's genetics, then you're in Hitler territory. I don't think anyone wants to be that.
This is not a good way to do interviews.
It is his first day here in America, and he wants to find out, are Americans kind? What do you guys think?
I think so. I'd say yeah.
You guys agree? Are you guys all American? Yeah. Okay.
I think that by far Americans in general are the nicest people.
Circumstantially.
Well, they say things like, bless your heart, when they're really saying, fuck you.
I would hope so. Yeah, but I think it depends like where you are and your stature too.
So what are some things that people do that are kind?
Oh, in the morning at school, my friend Lenny here, he buys me breakfast, which is a great act of kindness. It's a good way to start the day.
I try to show random acts of kindness, I guess.
What are some random acts that you are?
I bought like a whole thing of like Capicolo and I just gave it to a homeless guy that was outside.
What is Capicolo?
It's gabagool. It's it's just deli meat. It's just deli meat.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Something that we have that's really kind in England. We're known as a nation of animal lovers. That's our thing. And I think you can judge a nation by how they treat the animals, right? So how does that stand with you guys? Do you like animals? Do you think we should be good to animals too?
Why are you asking?
We should be good to animals? Yeah.
You're vegan. Yeah.
I would say Americans love their animals. I mean, you can see there's so many dogs and cats and lizards and yeah, you'll find the animal lovers here.
I love animals more than people.
So you're an animal lover?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And what would you say then about the animals going into slaughterhouses and farms? Do you think,
I would
are we
say
kind?
I'm vegan, motherfucker. Are you?
Yeah!
45% of the people support Trump. So forget about them. But then there's like, half the country aren't stupid fascists.
98% of people eat animals. So forget about them.
I don't. And
You don't?
Really?
Oh. So you're vegan?
inhumane. Well, no, I tried vegan. Couldn't have to.
Why do you not eat animals? Why'd you make that decision?
Because it's slavery was once accepted. Then we said, it's probably, violating someone's rights. People only in the last few decades have realized how emotional, complex, how wonderful animals are inside their heads. They treated them like they're just nothing. In fact, animals are as deserving of respect as we are.
Why aren't you vegan?
Oh.
I'm playing. Why am I not vegan? I grew up on farms. I'm a farmer. I grew up raising livestock.
You were working at the farm. Were you personally killing the animals as well?
I was actually. I love chicken processing personally. I found it a very holistic and kind of beautiful experience. Like the easiest way is to cut their heads off. You put them in a little traffic cone, you cut the top, and they their head pokes out, and you just.
Do you think that happens to hens and dairy cows are kind? Does that make?
I pay 3 times the price to buy my eggs from true free range, not labeled free range.
Let me ask you a question. At the end of their life, when they're not laying as many eggs, do you think they go to a different slaughterhouse or the same slaughterhouse as all the other
I
chickens?
grew up on a farm. I used to cut chickens' heads off, and the body would run around the yard while the head goes on the ground. We're all gonna die, including chickens.
So does that give me the right to cut your head off and let you run around without a head?
Yeah, give it a try. There are good ways to die. I want to die not knowing I'm being killed, and then I'm dead.
Okay, so you're happy for some serial killer just to come take you out whenever they want?
I don't give a shit if it doesn't hurt.
Because animals don't have the same fear of death that human beings do. As long as you give an animal a good life, then for me that's enough.
So a baby fits the description of what you've just described. They don't have a fear of death. They don't really know what's going on. You give them a pretty good life as a baby. Would you say that it's all right to kill them too?
No. I think it's different calling animals individuals than people.
Let's get into it, right? I'll tell you what, let's skip out a big chunk here, right? The most common thing people say when it comes to animals and people, they say, well, you know what? They're different to us. They're not human. That's a really common one. Just because they're not human, right? So what that is genetics. That's all it is. What makes you a human and this dude a dog? Genetics, that's it, right? DNA, all that stuff. So what you're saying is, if you say that, is you're saying, well, I think they should die because they have different genetics to me. Do you know who else has used that logic in history? Adolf Hitler.
Adolf Hitler.
That's the logic of Adolf Hitler.
We had one Jersey cow, and then she had a little baby as well, which we ended up eating. But the Jersey cow, Jerseys are best for milk, so we just did milk every day.
How would you kill the cows in the farm?
It's like a bolt, you know, and it kind of, it's maybe like 2 inches deep. You know, fairly humane.
The meat industry is obviously not only corrupt, but just like inhumane in every capacity, so of course.
So what are kinder alternatives that we could buy instead?
I know ethically raised meat, like even if that's like a case, like I feel like there is some level of like you gotta eat meat or all the essentials, but I feel like how things are right now, I don't know.
Do you know how they're killed, most animals?
Horrifically.
They're shot in the head, they have their throat slit, or they're gassed, then have their throat slit. Sometimes they suffocate them, sometimes they dunk them in electrified water. Depends on the animal, depends on the country.
If I caught a tuna and, pulled it out and bludgeoned it to death quickly, I would have no problem with that.
Look, I'm getting confused here, right? You don't eat animals because you care about animals and you think they don't deserve to be killed, but here you are kind of arguing that there are good ways to kill them. I don't understand.
I didn't say they're good. I said there are better and worse ways to die.
But it's better to not do it. You agree? Yes or no?
Do I agree with what?
That it's better to not kill them.
Ask me a question.
Is it better to not kill animals?
No. I am so against industrial farming. And then it's like, look, let's evolve, kids.
Yeah, let's evolve, and we don't need to be eating animals to thrive and survive. Absolutely.
What do you think from their perspective? How did they feel going through what you would say is beautiful?
How would they? I think it misses the point a little bit. From their perspective, I would say that all of the animals that I've had part in have had fantastic lives.
When they were being killed, what do you think was going through their heads as you were approaching them with a knife?
It's a moment of bliss. They're asleep, they're cradled, and then lights go out.
What you're describing here, like, it's not like you were going to tell us, hey, look, I think they were scared, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, because that would mean you wouldn't be able to live with yourself. The story you're telling, it has to be that way. Because how could you live with yourself if you admitted that, you know what, these animals trusted me and I slit their throats? And in those moments, those final moments, upside down, they might have passed out, but they were certainly not experiencing bliss. They were passing out from the head with blood rushing to their head, and as soon as they'd done that, I chopped their heads off. Well, that's a much more brutal telling of the story versus your version. But your version, I feel like you have to tell that version, otherwise you got to face up to the fact that you were chopping the heads off innocent animals that trusted you.
They use like Darwin's theory of evolution to try and say, oh yeah, no, some people are just inferior to others.
And that's exactly what most people do to animals, right? Most people tap out of the conversation too because it's a tough truth. It's a tough truth. I get it. But at the end of the day, there is nothing that an animal has or doesn't have that makes it okay to do these things to them. And if it's genetics, then you're in Hitler territory. I don't think anyone wants to be there. So then what is it then? If you have something else, what is it?
I was vegan for 2 years and I found myself missing meat. When I started climbing again and started getting back more active, it was harder for me to get my protein. So for me, it was convenient for me to just start eating meat again.
Protein comes from plants. So every single animal that people eat got every single nutrient from plants. So it's like instead of going through the body of an animal, we could just go directly to that source.
Yeah, and you get better sources of protein. You get complex proteins, you get complex carbs. It is better.
You mentioned convenience as a thing, and I get it. I'll ask you a tough question though. What do you think's more important, their lives or your convenience?
I guess because I'm always thinking about myself first naturally, I don't usually think about the animal first.
It's like the back of your mind, right?
But I think also advertisements make it very easy for us to like just kind of go blank and not actually think through where these products came from. I think if you had to sit there and watch the slaughterhouse footage while eating it, it might be harder to continue to consume those products.
I agree, yeah.
Farming is death. The constant everyday life is death. Crops are dying. Birds are falling and dying. The animals are. There's an element of brutalism, sure, if you want to, fetishize death. And also, what level are we focusing on? Are we going to micromanage and focus, the act of killing this animal is bad, but fuck Black Lives Matter, fuck Palestine.
No, it's about supporting, you don't have to pick and choose, you can actually just support, kindness for all. So there's alternatives to eating animals, right? It's not like you have to eat them for survival, you don't.
So we're talking about, okay, where do we draw the line is what you're basically saying. So, crop agriculture has death involved. Lots of things that we do has death involved, right? So at the end of the day, where are you going to draw the line? Would you ever use that argument when it came to humans? So for example, you mentioned Black Lives Matter. So with Black Lives Matter and people being shot by the police, you wouldn't say, well, people die. Where are we going to draw the line? You wouldn't. You would say, do you know what? Those innocent people don't deserve to die, and I'm going to stand for that. Then why then don't we say the same thing for these animals? Why don't we say, hey, look, do you know what? Animal agriculture, whether it's done that way or factory farming, those innocent animals don't deserve to die. Now listen, crop farming is unavoidable. We have to do crop farming, but we can improve that. We can't improve animal farming. Animal farming has to involve killing animals, getting their bodies, taking shit out of them, killing them.
How are you propositioning this argument for human rights and for equity? Like, what is the connection? Because if it's not for that, I lose a lot of interest. Genuinely, because I care more about humans than animals.
Do you think you could support more than one issue at once?
Of course.
Okay.
And
so what makes you think that vegans don't care about humans?
Because a lot of them predominantly are white or Caucasian.
What does that have to do with caring about humans?
Let me finish. Go on. I want to see where this is going.
A lot of the veganism movement is very privileged, is very white-centric. I know a lot of people of color just kind of don't give a fuck.
In my experience, most vegans that I meet are people who have genuinely suffered themselves. Why you see a lot of people of color going vegan, because they can identify with others who also suffer. Actually, the most privileged people aren't vegan. Okay, the most richest people in the world are fucking not vegan, bro. They're going to get gold steak,
Right,
in these
Donald
shitty
Trump
restaurants.
Kind of shitty steak, shitty.
Exactly.
Yeah, shitty
exactly.
meat. Yeah,
These are the people, man, not the vegans, right?
There's a Zionist right over there, selling fucking pro-Israel shit.
Oh, really?
Like, I'm just curious.
So, all right.
Now with us, our conversation.
No, it's okay. We can talk about it.
Yeah,
So I'll tell you two things. So one thing, anyone who's for human rights and for protecting the innocent, protecting the vulnerable, the connection there is all the attributes you would assign to, for example, Palestinians, innocent, vulnerable, and being attacked by those who have more power and bigger weapons, right? Animals are in the exact same position. Innocent, vulnerable, being attacked by people.
I'm gonna stop you now.
Yes.
I will never condone any connection between people's lives who are being genocided and animals. I will never allow that.
Normal everyday people are not 3 times a day causing harm to Palestinians with their individual
You
actions.
think just eating meat directly is a harm to animals?
You're paying for their abuse, absolutely.
I want to hear what he's saying, because he's just saying stuff.
If there were a way you could get the correct support from actual trained people who are also doing the similar things to you, sports, athleticism, who are doing it on a plant-based diet, if that were an option, would you go back to it?
I would say so, yeah. If I had a plan that was laid out for me and yeah, I felt like I could get the sources of protein that I get now, then I think I would, yeah.
This is great because this is what draws the difference between people, someone honest like yourself, who actually wants the best for, others in the world, including animals, and someone who's just obsessed with themselves. You fall into the first category, which is really good, mate.
You're open-minded, and you're like, if I learn the information, like I will change. Well, the good news is we do have some information. We have free resources, free nutritionists that can help guide you through that, and also just give you any assistance that you might need.
It's called Challenge 22. So basically, these dietitians, nutritionists run it. They're all volunteers, but they're trained, qualified professionals. They work because they just want to help animals. They're not interested in money. They're not interested in any of that. They just want to help people like you figure it out so that you can become part of this change for animals, That's it.
Yeah.
And they work with athletes. They know all that stuff as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for talking.
Thank you,
Thank you for stopping and chatting.
Yeah.
Very nice meeting
I
you.
hope you guys convert some more people today.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
man.
you.
Thanks so much.
We're hoping on
Get in
it.
the comment section when the video goes up, man.
My one regret is that I didn't go vegan sooner. I look back in just disgust of what I participated in and how many animals suffered for me for so many years.
If it were possible, would it be something you would do?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
If I tell you now it is possible, would you believe me?
Yeah.
And if I tell you we've both been vegan, she's 7 years, me 14 years, do you think we'll look healthy?
I mean, yeah, you're ripped.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, my
What about
goodness.
me?
Dude, you're the best guy ever, man. This is where we stop. No more conversations after this one. I need to leave on this high.
David, what do you think about America?
Mixed bag, yeah. They're very nice people, very kind people, some quirky ass people as well, really interesting people. But ultimately, it was positive. People talk a lot and they're not scared of showing their opinions, and that is very good. Makes our jobs a lot easier and open-minded.
So guys, without further ado, you know where to find me. I'm at It's Jamie's Corner. Where are you?
I don't know, you're doing this way more pro than me. Okay. And don't cut this, put it all in, it's fine. I'm David Rams. Find me also on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. David Rams is my name. You'll get the link. Or if it's on my channel, you'll see it. But if it's on her channel, the link will be down there. Something will be down there.
Yes.
End video.